me see now. You have an extensive list of credits on IMDb, and you've answered this question well for me before in writing, and now I'll let you talk about your favorite films that you've been involved in, whether they're short or feature length, series. Yeah, tell me about your fave moments on set, and why.
Okay. Um, it's really hard to pick favorites because I'll tell you this. There's one thing that I've always done as an actor that isn't isn't what you do if you want to be an actor.
Okay,
So you don't do this. I do it, but you shouldn't do it if you want to be an actor. And
right?
that and that's I even though I'm a very small time actor, I've always been very picky and choosy about what I want to do. And unlike other actors that I talk to that are always very, excited about, I got a commercial. I'd like commercial. Who the hell wants to be in a commercial? Um, I want to be chains and homicycle and kill people. And that's what I want to do.
Fun stuff.
So so it was always this odd thing that I would seek out movies and either apply to them or just simply write the director and tell them about myself and say I'd love to be in your movie. And so I would always kind of go after stuff.
Okay.
And so when I say it's hard to pick what's my favorite, I picked all those things. I love them.
Right. Yeah. So you already, yeah, everything's your favorite pretty much because you went after them because you want. Okay. Well.
And then what happened, which was great, was because I ended up meeting all kinds of cool directors that I did fun stuff for. The next time they went to do something, they said, "I'm doing this kind of movie now. Are you interested?" And I'd be like, "Yes," because they were still making the kind of stuff that I wanted to do. So let's talk Brett Kelly, for example. The
Okay.
first movie that I did with Brett Kelly was My Fair Zombie. I
Okay.
did My Fair Zombie, where I played a zombie in his film,
Mhm.
and that was great. I had a very ridiculous look in that movie as a zombie. Where I had this giant hat. I don't know. I was supposed to be like a 18th century giant hat guy, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But I had a good time with that. And then his next movie was Homicycle, which was not a zombie movie. And at the time, I was doing a lot of zombie movies, and he contacted me and said, "So, do you only do zombie movies, or are you interested in other things?" And I said, "Well, what do you got?" And then he told me about Homicycle, and I said, "Okay, this sounds great." So I ended up getting in there as a gang guy named Chains, and had a really nice, funny little bit that he wrote for me, which was fantastic.
Nice.
So, and I've done a bunch of stuff with Brett over the years. One of my other favorites working with Brett is Ghastlies. Um, Ghastlies was kind of like, the little monster puppet movies of the
Oh,
80s. And
yeah.
so I built all the puppets for the movie, and I ran the puppets in the movie, and I had a character that I played in the movie, and I did a bunch of the gory special effects for the movie. So I really got in there with Ghastlies. So that's a great. Oh, and I did a little animated sequence for it as well. So yeah, it's funny. I used to be a tech teacher. So we talked about me being a teacher. I used to be a tech teacher, and I always told kids, like tech's the future. Like
Mm.
if you can run this stuff, if you can write the programs, I mean, you can pretty much write a ticket for yourself in so many different jobs. So I was always promoting tech. And when I left teaching, I took my own advice and I did the same kind of. So that's why it was easy to move from just acting to filmmaking and editing and animating and making puppets. And I was always kind of a little into everything.
Yeah. Well, that makes total sense. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. And any more you wanted to talk about particular
Yeah.
credits?
Let's talk about Plan 9, because Plan
Oh,
9
yes.
was an amazing one for me to do simply because I was such a huge fan of the original movie for years.
Yes. Yeah.
And when I heard that they were making this remake, I just about lost my mind. And I applied to movie. I can't remember what it was. Not now they have a site called Mandy that you can apply
Yes.
to movies for as an actor. There was a different one before,
Yeah.
and
I don't remember what it was called. Yeah.
mm, you won't get it from me because I remember nothing. But
Yeah.
anyway, I, I I applied, and they were like, "You're in Canada." And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, but I'd really like to come down. They go, well, there's no pay. I said, oh, I know. I just want to be in Plan 9.
But it's worth it. Yeah.
So I flew down, and I spent a weekend on the set, and I got to be like a tuxedo zombie.
Ooh, sorry, where was it shot before we?
It was shot in Virginia.
Yes. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I spent a weekend on the set. I was a tuxedo zombie. I got to meet Johnny Johnson, the director, who's a great guy, and his wife at the time, Mariah Smith, now Mariah Johnson. She did my makeup,
Ah,
and I was so into the movie. I said I'd have some props for you. I was so into the movie and being a part of it that when I peeled off my zombie features that she made for me, I kept them.
oh,
So I still have them. I got them like in a little
oh, cool.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All the little bits that made my face for Plan 9.
Cool.
And and the other thing that became strangely iconic after Plan 9 was I had a tuxedo, and it was an old tuxedo.
Okay.
And I bought it so that I could be a background actor on my very first movie. So here's the history of the tuxedo. I went into the agency and said, I'd like to be a background actor. And they're like, okay. But you're a teacher. You're only going to do this in the summer. I said, yeah, I'll do it here and there. I'll pick and choose things. And they're like, well, we don't like that. And I went, well, that's what I can do for you if you want me to do it. And then I begged and pleaded because I wanted to be in Driven, which came out in 2001. So this is around 2000, because I wanted to see Sylvester Stallone. I'm just a fan. I wanted to see him. So she asked me at the time in the agency, okay, we have this tuxedo party. It's 3 nights on set with Stallone. I'm like, yes. She goes, "But you have to have your own tuxedo. You have a tuxedo, right?" And I went, yes, I have a tuxedo. I did not have it. But I bought one at Value Village,
Mhm.
and it served me for a couple of years on set. And then it got kind of old, and I bought a new one. But I never got rid of the old one. And when I went down for Plan 9, I brought the old tuxedo with me. And then Mariah Johnson, who did my makeup, shredded the suit. And she was like, you sure? This is like a tuxedo. And I'm like, yeah, believe me, I paid nothing for that shred away. So she shredded the tuxedo, and we used it in Plan 9. But I still have the tuxedo, and it's what I wear when I'm Johnny Goulash.
Oh,
So
there
there
we
you
go.
go. It's all the same tuxedo.
Wow, very cool and very economical too.
It's indie filmmaking at its finest. You gotta save money.
Perfect. Any other ones you want to talk about
Let's see.
before I move on to some other?
I was on. This is a background story, but it's awesome. I was on the set of Survival of the Dead, and they had a scene at the end of the movie where a guy named Chuck gets ripped into pieces, and I'm one of the guys that got chosen to tear him apart and to eat him. And it was funny how I got that, because this is kind of how I get everything.
Mhm.
I'm in a pen with about 100 other zombies,
Yeah.
and I somehow, with bionic ear or whatever, I can hear a guy 20, 30 feet away talking, saying, we're going to do this scene tomorrow. We're going to rip this guy in half. And we've already got the guy from Dread Central. He's going to be in the scene. And we've already got the guy that's making the documentary about the movie. He's going to be in the scene. And we need one more guy. And they hear, ooh. and they turn, and what they must see is just a sea of zombies, and one zombie jumping up and down with his hands up in the air, waving at them like, and me, and me. And the guy laughed and said, and that guy. And that's how I got into the scene.
Very good. Well, since you mentioned that, you've played a zombie also in Land of the Dead, and like a background zombie or whatever, but
Yep.
it's semi-featured Resident Evil Apocalypse. Any more that I'm missing of the?
Dawn of the Dead.
So is this the 2000 and
Yeah,
was it
yeah,
six?
the remake.
Yeah.
2005, 4, 2004, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which zombie were you in that? In Dawn of the Dead?
In Dawn of the Dead, you can see me really well, and it was just because I followed directions. It was really that simple. It wasn't like anything special. I was just there among 120 other zombie background people.
All right.
And they had a scene where I guess someone hits a golf ball off the roof of the mall,
Mm-hmm.
and it flies and it hits some zombie in the head and he drops down.
Yep.
And so they were looking for people who had good makeup. I had good makeup, mainly because I hung around the makeup tables and, I just made sure I always looked as good as I could.
All right.
And got people to touch me up or whatever before going on set.
Mm-hmm.
And I was up close with all the people with this scene where they were going to hit this guy in the head with a golf ball.
Right.
And they said, okay, everybody's facing forward. This is no good. It looks like you're coming at us like a wall. We need some people turn this way. We need some people turn that way. And I said, oh, okay. So I just turned around. So my back was now towards the camera. And I don't know if they knew what I had planned to do, but I put my back to the camera, and I guess they thought, okay, that's good. The guy right in the dead center got his back to us, and the guy just to his right is getting hit with the golf ball.
Right.
So what happened was they were up on a ladder with some kind of gun thing that they were shooting a ping pong ball out of this air gun at this guy's head.
Nice.
It's hilarious in and of itself. But every time the guy got hit in the head and I heard like, and him start to drop, I would turn from where I was to like, wait, what's going on over here? What I didn't realize was that would be me in the center of the shot once the guy went down, and they left it on me. And so that was one of the times when I kind of got into background just because I wanted to meet celebrities, because I was,
Yeah.
Then by the time you're sitting in the theater watching Dawn of the Dead and you see yourself, however many meters high in the center of the screen, you go, oh my God.
Yeah.
At that point, you're kind of like caught up in it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I actually have a text interview for the blog series coming up with Ina, I should say, who played the pregnant zombie in Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, as well as her husband, who was not in Dawn of the Dead, but in a separate interview. So yeah, good. I'm glad you were in Dawn of the Dead. I wanted to bring that up too.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, and what about how recognizable are you in Land of the Dead?
Not very. In Land of the Dead, I was there 2 or 3 days, and a lot of them were far shots. So at the end of the movie, when there's a lot of zombies eating behind an electrified fence,
Yeah.
I'm among them. You can see me, but I mean, you have to be looking for me. So it doesn't count in the same way, right? And
Okay.
the other day that I did on Land of the Dead was the scene where the zombies are coming out of the water.
Oh.
And that was a freezing cold day, and I had a mask on. So you can't really make me out anyway.
Oh.
It was still cool because got to meet Romero and get directed by Romero, but you only see me fleetingly in that movie.
Oh yes. Another person I'm interviewing, Callan from the the Grand Gerard, a movie you were in, Ouija Shark,
We
screened
right.
there. Well, I don't know if it was the last thing to screen there, but it was one of the last things to screen there before everything got shut down by COVID-19. So thought we'd take a minute to chat about that, since we're having another synchronicity as far as you guys know each other and he's in another
Sure.
interview. Yeah. So tell me about your role in Ouija Shark, and a little bit about the movie and that screening, if you could.
Sure. Ouija Shark was a Brett Kelly movie,
Mm-hmm.
and Brett and I were on the set of another movie that he was doing called Murder in High Heels, which is awesome. It's not a horror movie, but it's like a film noir. It's
Oh,
very cool.
cool.
And while I was on the set talking to him, he was telling me about shooting this Ouija Shark movie. And he said that the distributor had a hard deadline on him of December. And it was September, and a lot of the movie hadn't been shot yet. Parts of the script needed to be rewritten, including the ending. And and the movie was looking like it was going to turn out a little short, like not the length that the distributor asked for.
Right.
And he was concerned because he had this limited amount of time and money to be able to film the rest of the movie.
Right.
So I talked to him and I said, well, I'm going back to Hamilton. He's in Ottawa.
Mhm.
And I said, I'm going back to Hamilton. What if I help you with the script? I can work on the existing script, and I could add myself as a character. I could be one of the dads of one of the girls in the movie,
Right.
and we worked out this whole way that I could interact with the characters either mystically or over a phone.
Okay.
And I shot all of my scenes in Hamilton myself
Cool.
and sent them in to Brett. So it was a great. I'd love to do more of this, to be honest, where I get people from that are making movies in remote locations away from me that are like, well, we'd like to have you in the movie, but we can't really have you down. It's like, well, give me something to do and I'll shoot it here,
Yeah.
right? And it's worked out actually for a few movies very well. So for Ouija Shark, I kind of came up with this mystical dad character who I'm really happy to say was like really well received
Hmm.
at the premiere. People laughed at all the stuff that I said, and I said a lot of stuff that was really tongue in cheek, like kind of dry, like Adam West on Batman.
Yeah.
And I thought, boy, I hope people figure this out. It's supposed to be funny, and
Yeah.
they did.
Great audience, obviously. Yeah. Good.
Awesome audience. I couldn't ask for more. It was so much fun to watch the movie with
Oh,
an audience.
terrific. Terrific. Now, okay. Well, quickly though, what is Ouija Shark about?
Ouija Shark is about a woman who finds a Ouija board on a beach, and it is possessed by a demonic shark who likes to come out of the Ouija board and eat people and then go back in the Ouija board, I guess. I don't know. He goes somewhere and then he
Was it,
comes
yeah,
around again.
so the nether world or whatever, nether ocean. Uh, cool. Okay. All right.
And that was the other thing. I should say this too, is the other thing I did for Brett was I did all the Ouija Shark green screen
Oh,
effects. So he had this latex, just beautiful latex shark, about, I don't know, like about this big,
mhm.
and it was like a puppet. And he sent it to me, and I shot all the scenes of it going rah rah rah, and it looks like this.
Yeah. Yay.
And and so that's in the movie too. So yeah, I was busy with Ouija Shark. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Huh. All right. And now I'm going to switch tack a little bit here, and go to the questions that I like to ask all my guests of 13 Horrifically Silly Days of Halloween, beginning with your favorite all-time horror movies.
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty old school at I still love I love The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
I love The Exorcist. Um, those are ones that probably a lot of people say. So I'll throw a couple at our maybe maybe you don't know as well.
Sure.
The Legend of Hell House
Oh,
is
yes.
one
Love.
of my yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I still to this day love Trilogy of Terror with Karen Black.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
it's a fantastic fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then of course, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. I have a hard time picking between the two, which I like the most, the original Dawn or the original Day. Love
Right.
them.
What about Night of the Living Dead, though?
I like it too, but Dawn and Day are like next level amazing in comparison.
True.
I like Martin too. That's another Romero movie that's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, which I haven't seen yet. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's really worth seeing.
All
So
right.
there you go. There's a bunch.
Yes, yes, a bunch. Now, what about favorite horror comedies? Not B movies. We'll do that in a second because they are often horror comedies too, but I just
Yeah, but
strictly horror comedy on
unintentionally.
purpose. Yeah, they did it.
Horror comedies.
Yes.
Return of the Living Dead comes to mind
Mhm.
first. Like it's still classic after all these years. I've watched it again recently, and I mean, it's still got it. It's a great one.
I have to watch it again.
Um,
It's been too long. Yeah.
yeah, I was I was the one of the producers because there were many producers. I was one of the producers of a horror comedy lately called um, Camp Death 3.
Oh, and so is this a Canadian movie?
It's oh, did they film? I think they filmed some of it in Canada. I think some of it in California.
Okay. All right.
But I saw that when I was writing. I was writing a lot of reviews for people for indie movies,
Oh, yes.
and I wrote a review of the movie before its final release,
Okay.
and I loved it. I thought it was really funny. And then the opportunity came to be a producer for the movie, and I jumped at that. So I mean, I didn't really do anything. I got a producer credit, but I didn't do anything in the movie. But
Yeah.
it's really funny, and it's to be attached to it in even a small way is awesome.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I hear you there because I was an associate producer for Plan 9, which you were in, but
Yeah,
that was just me helping out with money, basically. But I'm still happy that I'm attached to that project. So,
yeah, and it turned out so well. Plan 9.
oh
It turned out really well.
yeah,
So
it's in my collection, of course.
yeah,
All right, now, are there any particularly you for sure know are Canadian horror comedies or just regular horrors that
Canadian.
are faves of yours? Canadian, yeah.
Canadian. Um, I saw one out of Ottawa called Werewolf Fever,
Oh,
which it's it's not comedy through and through, but it certainly has a lot of comedic elements,
cool.
and it's really good. It's worth seeing.
Nice.
And I hear that it's going to be re-released soon because it had a DVD release, but I hear there's going to be a new release soon. So
Nice.
um, that was really good. A lot of the stuff Brett Kelly does
Mhm.
is he's done a few horror comedies, and that one, My Fair Zombie,
Mhm.
it's a comedy, it's a musical, it's got zombies. That's a fun one. Yeah, that's a fun one.
Very cool. All right. Now, let's talk about B movies. Perhaps you could give me an example or two of a favorite B movie, and give me both an old B movie fave, other than Plan 9 from Outer Space because we know that already, and a more modern B movie.
Okay, so an older B movie, Bride of the Monster. Another, that's an easy. If you're not going to let me say Plan 9, I'm going to say Bride of the Monster.
Only because you've already said it, so you
So,
know.
Bride of the Monster has Bela Lugosi. It's an Ed Wood movie. The
Tor,
dialogue is hilarious. It's got Tor. I
Yeah.
don't know what more you want, but there you go. So that, of the older ones, that's what I'd say.
All right.
Of newer B movies, again, it's more difficult because with the older ones, I really feel like I'm talking from a position of knowledge because I've seen them all.
Yeah.
Whereas more modern stuff, um, I haven't seen as much modern stuff as far as B movies go. And even the ones that I have seen that are by people that I know or whatever, I don't know if they'd appreciate me calling them B movies, even though they kind of are. So,
Yeah. Okay.
and even, I mean, the movies that I make are like, you know, I don't know, Z movies. Like they're not,
Well,
they're really micro budget, right? So they're
yeah.
small budget. So, I mean, even that is,
I
yeah, I
mean,
don't know, that's a harder one, the modern stuff.
B movie isn't a bad word as far as I'm concerned, though. So I don't mean that it's a bad movie. I mean like it's bad in a good way, in the most fun and appreciative way, like that it's that is a true little gem. So
Or even
um,
if it's just low budget, you
yeah,
know? Um, there's a great one called Triangle.
Triangle.
That is, it's an indie movie. It's not a low budget indie movie. I'm sure they spent money on it because I mean it looks great,
Mm.
but it's almost like a Groundhog's Day type horror movie where they keep revisiting certain events over and over again, and they change each time depending
Okay.
what's going on. That's really worth seeing. That's a
Right.
good movie. So there you go. I'll give you that one.
All right, thank you. All right, that'll do. Now, you did mention, are there any Canadian, even more local filmmakers, whether like Hamilton, Ottawa, that you'd like to give a plug to? And also, would you give a bit of a plug to Survival Zombie and so forth? So,
Sure. Um, I work a lot with Brett Kelly out of Ottawa. So his company is called Gray Chance Films.
okay.
And he's a guy that's been making films for about 20 years. And he has, I think, more than 20 features that he's done in that time. So, and he's Canadian and, he does a lot of genre pictures. So he's not happy just doing like a horror comedy. He'll make a horror comedy, then he'll make a black and white film noir, and then he'll make Ouija Shark, and then he'll make Ghastly. So there's a lot of variety there. So
Great.
definitely check out Brett Kelly's stuff. And of course, right in our backyard here over in Guelph, we've got Black Fawn Films, right? And Black Fawn, they do so many different films. Heretics, um, Antisocial. So they've done a lot of films, and they're from the Southern Ontario area. So yeah, I'll always go see a Black Fawn film if you
All
can.
right, yeah. Okay. Cool.
As far as survival zombie films go, we've had a bunch of different films over the years. There's one that's on Amazon Prime called The Friday Night Death Slot. That's an anthology film with lots of comic and horror bits to it. I did a film called Johnny Goulash Escapes from Creightonville, which is like a live action Johnny Goulash movie. That is in the hands of a distributor, and I'm waiting to see when it comes out.
Okay.
So there's that. Then there's, I got these ready. I got Poltergeist Encounters.
Ooh.
That came out from Wild Eye Releasing. I did that many years ago. I don't know, 2015, not that many years ago. Exorcism of the Dead, that also came out from Wild Eye Releasing. I directed and wrote that.
Cool.
And then, of course, there's Creature from Cannibal Creek, which should be coming out soon. Curse of the Bloody Voodoo Sock Puppet, which is on the Survival Zombie channel. And then lastly, we're talking about all this work going on because of COVID-19. A lot of people can't work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm stuck at home, and I got a green screen. I got So I mean, I just stopped doing what I was doing and just started working at home. So even though I said I'd probably never do a third season of Partially Devoured Movies, I've actually been working on a third season.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
So, I've already edited 8 movies down to 15 minutes. So the hardest work is done.
Great.
I've done voiceovers for it. I'm doing an animated clip that's going to go in every episode. So I'm hoping when this is all over and we can go out and about and see people again and do things, I'm hoping to film the live action parts for Partially Devoured Movies and then suddenly have a third season ready.
Oh, terrific. It's a really good use of the time. Like it's yeah.
Home anyway. I want to do something.
The last question is about Halloween. This is coming out, the 13 Horrifically Silly Days of Halloween. So I always like to ask, what's your favorite thing about Halloween? Do you have any Halloween rituals, past or present, whether, when you were a kid or now or both? I'm not really talking about coven get-togethers and ritual sacrifices, but if that's part of it, whatever, do share.
Well, in a way, it's boring, but in a way, it's exactly what Halloween should be all about.
Mhm.
I used to have where we'd have friends over and we'd dress up
Mhm.
and we'd go out and scare kids and give out candy and whatever else. And that eventually faded down to just me and the family giving out candy and stuff. So, I mean, I do what probably thousands of people do on Halloween. I love putting on a series of horror movies and watching them.
Mhm.
And I love going to the door and giving out candy. Like that's my thing. I
Yeah.
love giving kids candy. And we have to buy lots of candy because I can't help myself. I see a little kid in a cute little costume and I'm like, here is candy for you. That costume. Yeah, here
Throw it
you
up
go.
and there's lots into the bag. Aw, that's
I
cool.
love that's my thing. I love giving out candy.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me. It was a pleasure to chat with you.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.
No problem.